So this is the first of many. It's the first time we're videotaping in our office studio with our view. I hope the view's coming through. It's the first time I'm not actually introducing our speaker. We're just going to call you Charlie for now.
I'll take it.
Let people figure it out. And it's the first time where I'm really understanding the value of YouTube. This last month we had 2,000 hours of views on our channel, and we have 700 people who've subscribed and want us to do more. So thank you all for listening. Thank you very much for attending. There's a little surprise right at the end. I'm too humble to put it at the beginning, but out of respect to my daughter and helping her grow and mature, there's going to be a little tidbit at the end for anybody who's interested. This talk is in honor of, I have 3 Eliyahu family members in Israel who are not feeling good, and I hope they have a complete recovery, including Mitchell out in Chicago and Bob's wife here in LA, and all Am Yisrael and everybody in the world who's not feeling well when they have a Fuashlama. So let's start with a simple question. Why are you alive, Charlie?
Why am I alive? I think I'm here to in some way bring glory to the King of Kings. I think we're alive because there's something that we need to do to make the world a little bit brighter, and we have a life that has to be put in to plug into something to do that in our specific, unique way.
I know you to be a very humble man, but that's pretty, who are you to make a change?
Who are we not to make a change, right? If we're breathing, the breath we're breathing is the gift of the Almighty. So the breath that we have, the soul that we've been given, these are all assets that have been given to us for no cost. Whatever it is that we want in this world, whatever value we place on any home, plane, car, it pales in comparison to an infinite, invaluable soul. That's been given to us for free, but it's been given to us to do something with. And when I mean brighten the world, I don't mean the entire universe. I mean the person in front of me, the person down the block, the kids who have been given to me, the wife who I have. So when you see the world with the sense of I am overwhelmed with the gifts that have been given to me, and I gotta just walk around and see how to use them in a very micro fashion, to me that's what I think. I think that's why we're here.
So your life is a gift, your wife is a gift, your kids are a gift. You feel indebted?
It's not necessarily indebted in a sense of where I owe something, more than indebted from the place of I am grateful because I don't deserve it, right? We don't really deserve the things we have. We think we do because we're very proud of ourselves, but think of the stuff that we have and how we got them. The greatest things we have are, the love that we have from our families, the children that we've been given, the like I said, the life that we have. Those aren't things that we earned. We didn't make that. We can help it. We can take a family and make the kids better. We can invest our lives into our children and make them individuals that are greater than if we would ruin them, right? So there are things we have to be proud of ourselves, but even the things that we're proud of ourselves, where did that insight come from? Where did that creativity come from? At the core of it all, it's gratitude. It's gratitude that I am getting more than I earned, right? We live in 2018 America. That's incredible. This is the greatest time in the history of humanity to be alive. Most of us, if we were alive 300 years ago, we'd be a slave, or we'd be a servant, or we'd be killed because someone bigger and more powerful just wanted to. We're living in a time of rights, of opportunity, of connectivity. This is insane. So there's challenges. People are struggling. There's sickness. There's death and destruction, of course. But if we have the opportunity to walk down the street and appreciate what we have, and we feel that sense of gratitude. I'm not saying I do this all the time. I'm saying this is what's in my head. That sense of gratitude is empowering. Indebtedness feels disempowering to me. Grateful feels empowering to me, and that's the feeling that we have to have.
Right, so you believe in God?
Yes.
You're not ashamed of saying in this enlightened world that you believe in God?
If it's an enlightened world, they would believe in a divine power. Not at all. Now the word God and how we've used it in a more Western world is probably not the image what I believe in. I don't believe in someone standing in like heaven looking down and seeing if you're naughty or nice and giving you toys if you're nice and not if you're naughty. I think that image of what most, at least Americans or Westerners, believe in God is not what I think is what God is. But yeah, the concept of a divine, infinite, intelligent power, absolutely.
So I'm going on a little bit of tangent. We're on YouTube. Jews, non-Jews, Americans, Israelis, a lot of people are going to watch this. Do you have any challenges about your Judaism and sharing it to whomever would be listening?
Not at all. In fact, I love being able to talk to people in a way that's not combative. Some people hear the word God, and because they had a family situation where mom and dad just shoved down their throats, or they went to a school where it was turned into a subject and shoved down their throats, or they were taught that God basically is one little tiny thing, and they see the world in struggles and they say, oh, then so there are people that are struggling with a divine power from a personal perspective, but Jews, Christians, Muslims, or any other nation, I've been working in the business for my whole life. I'm very proud to be Jewish. I wear my yarmulke wherever I go. I'm very proud to walk into a restaurant that I can't eat at and not eat at. I don't feel bad for myself. And I love when someone says, hey, I'm not Jewish or I'm Jewish, can you just tell me what's going on? Can we have like a real conversation about things that are bigger than just how do we make money and did the Yankees win? And those are all good things. I hope the Yankees win and I like to make money. But like if anybody in the world wants to like have a conversation about depth, like God's existence and the grappling with it, not like, oh yeah, I believe in God, click the light switch on, check. No, you don't just believe in God like that. You grapple with God. You look around and go, how come God did this? You struggle with God. The belief in God is an honest, authentic search. It's not either you're in or you're out of the category, and if you're in, it's like, of course, I see him everywhere, and if you're out, it's like, of course not. But if people are interested in that search, whatever nation you are, I love it. And I hope people watch it. And by the way, when I walk down the streets, and when I go on an airplane, or when I go to a business meeting, and someone says, do you mind if I'm like, absolutely, like, forget the business deal, let's just talk about this.
Do you believe in prayer?
Absolutely.
What is prayer?
Prayer is the rectification of yourself to allow the divine energy to flow into you more.
Wow. It's not you asking God for stuff.
It is, but not because he doesn't know you need it.
Mm-hmm.
Prayer isn't like, oh, you need it to be healthy. Oh, well, I didn't realize. I'm glad you asked me for health. Now, ba-bam, now you're healthy. Like, it's not really, I don't think how it works. Everything is divine energy. Picture God like energy. And in the book I call it unified energy. Unified energy to me is how I describe God in the book that I wrote. And it's, I think, the most accurate English definition. And I sat with my rabbi, we really spent a lot of time on everything is godliness. Don't think of God as a person, think of God as energy. Everything that we have has an aspect of godliness. That thing isn't God, right? God's bigger, but it's a piece. The plants, me, you, the clothing, everything has a little bit of energy, divine energy in it. And your ability to connect to energy is what allows greater blessing into your life, what allows greater flow, allows the world to adapt, right? So if you can picture almost a plant, once that plant gets sunshine, it grows. So if you block the plant, it can't get the sunshine, it can't grow, right? When you remove that thing off the plant, the energy comes in and it becomes who it can be. Many times in life, and I don't mean this in the converse. You shouldn't make the logical flaw of if you pray, then you get energy. So if you're sick, then you don't get no. Don't go backwards. It's one way is the logical argument. Prayer's job is to humble oneself to realize I don't bring it all in order to connect to something bigger. And in the connection, does that give you the opportunity for greater divine energy, which then manifests into this world into greater physical blessing?
But if you're humble, how can you go out and change the world?
Let's define humility, right? One of the greatest misconceptions that humility means thinking less of yourself, right? I'm nothing. That's what they think humility is. Who's humble? Someone who walks around with his head down and they go, can you? And I can't. That's not humility. Who's the humblest man in ever? Moses, right? Moses. Think about what Moses did in his career. He went up against the strongest dictator ever, Pharaoh. He went up against God. Think about the story. Remember the story? God basically tells Moses, they sin with the golden calf. They're out. Now, think about a humble man being like, okay, God, yeah, whatever, you said so, I'm in. He's like, no. Moses turned to God and said, if you get rid of them, erase me from your book. Moses played Texas Hold'em all in to God. What? Humility isn't thinking less of yourself. Humility is thinking of yourself less. It's a big difference. If it's about me, if I'm the one who did this, then I'm stuck. But think of it like this. If I walk around and I have within me the power given to me, if I represent the full faith and confidence of the creator of humanity, then what can I take? What can I take on? Someone who, let's say, is a soldier, and that soldier walks around thinking that he can take over any village or any hilltop. That person's arrogant. Someone that walks around and says, I put on the uniform of this country, and I'm backed by the smartest generals and the greatest power. I may not think I can take that hill, but it's not me taking the hill. I'm just a player. So if I just go all in, I turn around, I got helicopters and jets. So you walk around through life and realize that you're connected to the divine source, and you can't be the best you can be. That's what humility means to me.
So one of the things I was raised with is Sinat Chinam created the destruction of the temple. Do you agree with that? And if so, do you believe that Ahavat Chinam can lead to the rebuilding of the temple?
Yeah, let's delve into that. What that means, though,
Okay.
right? People make a mistake thinking that Sinat Chinam means baseless hatred, meaning I'm not nice to people. If I would just be nicer, like if I would just get along and share my toys, then the base of it should be rebuilt. It's not. I don't think it's like that. What is the core of Sinat Chinam? Sinat Chinam means baseless. So it's interesting that if you look at when they achieved the highest level of love for each other, right? Ahavat Chinam, it took place after the Midbar, before they got the Torah. What went on during that period of time? And the answer that the rabbis teach us is that every day they got the man. So they got the man every day, and then they got this. That's all they did, and then they felt this connection. Why? Because the man was the example that Hashem's in your life. Every day you woke up and you got your portion. You couldn't take your friend's portion. You got your portion. And God took care of you every single day. The reason why Sinat Chinam is so terrible is not because he wants us to be nicer. It's because if you don't believe that he's in your life, then you're lost. If you don't believe that what's coming to you is coming to you, then you start taking everyone else's stuff. You start being jealous of someone else's things. You start thinking that their way of practicing Judaism is wrong because my way is the only way. Sinat Chinam is the litmus test to whether or not you actually believe that God's in this world. And the way it manifests is not, it can manifest and there's no God, but it also manifests in a much more subtle way, which is, what's yours is mine, and why do you have before me? And why are you celebrating when I'm crying? And I want to take on the world, I want to accumulate your stuff too. That idea of being self-absorbed is the core of why I am baselessly hating you, right? Sinat Chinam. Because if you hurt me, it wouldn't be Sinat Chinam, right? It would be Sinat for a reason. Why would I hate somebody if they didn't do anything to me? Because I don't look at them as a human being. They're just serving me. And if they look different or talk different or don't serve me when I need them, then I'm upset with them. So what it is self-absorption. It's humility. So the game of life, all of life, comes down to one thing.
So brotherly love, Ahavat Chinam.
It's deeper. It's me or we. All of life is, am I connected to a divine source? And does that divine source know my name? Because if I am, then why would I ever be threatened by you? Brotherly love is the manifestation of having a father. How can I love my brother if I don't even know I have a father?
So let me blow it up. Jews, Muslims, Christians, Protestants, all of these differences of opinion, can there be brotherly love?
Of course. I flew to LA yesterday. I'm in the cab. Guy walks in, had a crazy day yesterday. Not for now. I went to the city, I came back, caught a flight, it was crazy. And everything, I'll tell you just very quickly, and I wanted to say goodbye to my wife before I left, and I missed her, because I had left early in the morning and I missed her. So I felt a little bad, I was leaving for a few days. I like to see my wife if I can every day, just to say hello. So I get to my...
You have 6 kids, I'm assuming it's a little bit more than just hello.
Right, we see each other. So I get to my appointment in the city early in the morning, and I had brought the wrong laptop with me. So now I had to get the right laptop before I got on an airplane. So I called my wife to meet me on the way to JFK, whatever it was. I left my meeting early, and there was no traffic, and I got to my house. And I had lunch at 11:30 with my wife before my Uber picked me up to take me to the airport for the 2 o'clock flight. I get in the airport, I get in the Uber, and he goes, "How you doing, man?" I said, this morning I had this laptop that I forgot, and I was so upset, and I realized, I believe God made me have to go home, and now I got a minute with my wife. So he says to me, "Yeah, I believe that's true, but I don't believe it's God." I said, "Okay." He goes, "But I believe it's a divine power." He goes, "I believe in this type of God." I'm like, whoa, wait a second. That's okay. You can practice the way you practice, and I can practice the way I practice, as long as we respect each other. If we're both searching for the divine source, why am I threatened by someone who searches differently than me? Why can't I get along with people? Do they have to be me? Does my Christian colleague have to become me? Why? Why can he search God in his way? Does that mean I have to be him? No. Why can't all of us search? There'll be a time where God reveals himself. Okay, we're not there. Why can't every religion say, listen, I'm not trying to kill you to make me look right. I'm just trying to do it on my own. I'm going to search through my traditions, through my parents, through my forefathers, and I'm going to try to find the divine in my way. And I'm going to turn across the table and say, let's have a conversation about it. Why can't I love someone who's not like me?
So we talked about different religions, and of course we can talk about a Jew with this type of level of observance and a Jew with that type of religion. Let's just go very, very personal, if I may, Charlie.
Sure.
Are you as religious as you were as a teenager?
No.
Are you as religious as you'll probably be in 20 years?
I hope not.
So even within yourself, you're not where you want to be or where you were. There's even that dialogue within yourself?
Every day.
And is there self-hatred for where you are now?
No.
Is there judgment for where you were?
No.
Even on an individual basis?
Only to grow.
So I know you love your kids, but if your son or daughter came up to you and said, "Dad, I don't feel religious enough. I don't feel I'm davening enough, or I don't feel I'm learning enough, or I don't feel I'm smart enough," or whatever judgment they have, what would you say to them?
Keep on trying. Let's figure out why. Let's delve. People aren't religious today, not because they don't have it in them, it's because they don't understand what they do. We live in a society where sometimes religion is being taught to us like a subject. So let's take davening, for example. There are a lot of wonderfully amazing religious people that have no idea what they say. They just say it. And they were told when they were younger that if they stop saying it, God's going to start zapping them. So they don't stop. And then they get married and they get kids and they get more responsibilities, so they just keep on not going. And then they stop and nothing happens to them. They're like, what am I doing this for? Almost every time, if there isn't any major religious dysfunction, almost every single time anyone says to me, I'm less observant or less religious, I was more, now I'm less, it comes from the lack of understanding why they do what they do.
And why should they do what they do?
That's exactly the point. That's the question. They don't understand why they should do what they do. That's a process of self-discovery.
So that you're not going to give them the answer. You might give them a hint or two, but they need to figure it out.
I may help them figure out why they do what they do. The one thing I'm not doing along the way is judging them for it. You know what? I go on once a year to Israel with 200 men, adult men from around the country, mostly secular guys. I love them, best guys in the world. And I tell them, all of them, if they're listening, I hope they are, my worst line a Jew can say is,
I'm not a good Jew.
I'm not a good Jew.
I hate that too.
I hate that. You know why? Because now they go, oh, okay, there's a picture. Says there's a picture. You know what the picture is? Progress. You know how I think life is? I think life is that little conveyor belt that you walk on in the airport. You just got to be going a little bit faster every day, just progress. There's nothing more inspiring than progress, and I don't think God wants more from us than progress. I don't even think God wants us to not fail.
Yeah, if he wants us all religious, he'd make it so we're all religious.
If God wanted everyone to be perfect, every morning at the crack of dawn, he would reveal himself and say, everybody look at what's going on in heaven, close up, good luck. He doesn't do that. He wants us to fight. He wants us to struggle. He wants us to try. He wants us to fall and get up and feel what it means to earn our way. It's a concept in Kabbalah called Na'ama Diki Sufa, the bread of shame. If he gives it to us too easily, we'd eat the bread, but it would be shameful. Earning your bread is what makes you feel the best. He wants us to earn it. And along the way of earning, you're going to have people that'll drop. You'll have people that'll fail. You'll have moments where you drop. You'll have times where you feel like you see the world clearly, and times where you feel like you can't get out of bed. The only thing we know in life is just keep on moving. And if you judge yourself, it's only to get better. There's no concept of, if you look at through even Torah, there's no concept of sadness, right? Even in the worst month ever, Tisha B'Av, right? Av was a pretty bad month, right? We don't pull punches as Jews. We don't whitewash history. We're reading stories about mothers cooking babies. The Mishnah teaches us, mimatin b'simcha. Just be a little bit less happy. It doesn't mean not sadness, self-hatred. That's not even in our lexicon. That's not us at all.
Let's talk about mentorship. This program is called Platinum Mentorship. Did you have a mentor?
Yeah, a few.
What is a mentor?
Somebody who lives their life in a way that you look up to, and that's available to you to ask questions that you can't ask anybody else.
So you have a few. That means for each part of your life, you have a different mentor?
They sort of overlap, but over the course of life, God sent me some really key individuals whose life I looked up to, and I would circle back with them as I was making major decisions, and they helped me through it.
How do you get a mentor?
You have to look for people that inspire you, and you have to ask of them time. And the real way you get a mentor is you have to be of service to them. Not in a mean way. You have to be valuable to people. And some people will just take you on and pour their hearts into you, and the rabbis or other mentors, and just by your existence. Some people will say, I'm just so busy. And so you'll say, hey, can I get involved in something? Can I just be helpful to you in what you do, so this way along the way? I've had a few people come to me and say, you know what, mind if I spend some time with you? I said, I'd love to, and I'm not worthy, but or I should say, I'm whatever worthiness that you think I am, it's whatever God puts in, but I just don't have the time. And they go, well, we'll just drive you to where you're going. We'll help you do your thing. And then could we talk along the way? I'm like, absolutely, that'd be the best thing ever. And so either you have somebody that has the time to give you, or you have somebody that you're involved with, and then in the process of being involved with them, either professionally or whatnot, you get the chance to see them, observe their behavior, ask them questions, and really learn a lot from them. You can learn more from what you don't ask somebody than what you do ask somebody.
And now I'm going to ask, if I was your mentee, what would you like me to learn?
I don't know. I'd want to tailor it to what you're struggling with or what you want to know, and I wouldn't be able to be any different than I know, right? The beauty of being a mentor is to be authentic. So whatever you'd get from me, you'd get from me, and it'd be what everyone would get from me, right? I won't be able to adapt it to pretend that I know more than I know. And so it would be whatever you're looking to get from me, for as long as you get it from me, and then graduate to someone holier or better. I don't know. But it's being around. I can tell you, one of my biggest mentors is my rabbi. I get most out of him by sitting 2 rows from him in shul, right? I just sit and I watch him, and I watch him interact with people. You get a lot out of that. You get a lot out of watching people and just being aware versus always being questioning.
Let's talk about the internet a little bit, if we can.
Sure.
Today, it's a part of life. Business relationships, friend relationship, even sexual relationships are online today. Mm-hmm. What's your thoughts about that?
Online is a force multiplier. What that means is that it multiplies you in a way that can give you an incredible amount of power, but that at the same time you can lose yourself along the way, right? Picture you taking a stroll, right? So you're taking a stroll with your wife, let's say, or someone that you're like. So you're taking a stroll and it's authentic, and you're talking, and it's just enjoyable. Now picture I take that same people and I have them run a sprint. right? So they'll get to where they got to go quicker, but they'll lose themselves along the way, right? They'll lose that connection along the way because you sprint, you're not schmoozing, not even talking. That's the online world. You have the ability to reach people in a way you can never reach. It's incredible. Like, you can Skype and people that you can never even spoken to. You can learn and deliver material. You're doing a YouTube video now that can reach people that can never get in this room. But you also can lose yourself along the way, right? You can think that life is about the screen. You can live your life watching Facebook pictures, like a lot of people do, and not ever connecting to people in a deep way, thinking that their lives are just whatever they post on Facebook. People can go through their families, their lives, literally. People can go through the young ages of their children. There are people today that from ages 3 to 13 spend 50, 70% less time with that kid, which they'll never get back because they were scrolling some social media site, looking at what everyone was doing in the 2 hours that kid came home.
You know, I was hoping for an easy transition to our next video with you, which is going to be about financial abundance, and we'll finally introduce you. Force multiplier, is that what money is? When you make a lot of money, does that just increase your ability to do all the stuff you want to do?
Or it can ruin you. Money is like the internet. It could expand your efforts or ruin you, depending on what you do with it.
Which brings me to the question I really want to ask you. I've seen a lot of people get popular, financially, influence, TV, speaking engagement, and I've been honored to see your tremendous growth.
That's a shame.
How do you ensure you don't get ruined? You're making a lot of money, you've written a book, you're creating a lot of influence. How are you not going to Hollywood?
Well, thank you for your kind words, and everything is in God's hands, and I should have the good fortune to hopefully do well. The answer is, who knows? You're always on guard. You're always worried about it. You never feel, one should never feel like at rest, that they're not being ruined by anything that has been given to them. Anyone, right? Because it's always a moment away, right? You're always a moment away from thinking that it's you. You're always a moment away from getting too proud and forgetting that there's something inside you that's deeper than you, that's God. You're always a moment away from thinking that your hands brought you whatever God gave you. And at that moment, you lose yourself. And then you start losing more of yourself. And then you don't know where to find yourself. If you look at all the great people that have failed, if you really look at their lives, you'll find something amazing that most people, and I'm talking about people that did some really bad things, not Hitler, but like a Bernie Madoff, let's say. Like, you really go into the lives of people that really failed and hurt people. Most of the time, they're not like woke up one morning and they're like evil, right? They just pushed a drop, right? They just pushed the line, all right? You see somebody struggling with something, and I'm not judging anybody in any which way, but they achieved a certain level of success, and now they need to have that success. So they were a child actor, or they made some money when they were younger, or they had whatever coming to them, and now they need that to maintain the equilibrium of feeling important, because their self-worth is based on their success. And then it gets harder, right? And so they have to fight for it. Sometimes you cheat, sometimes you steal, sometimes you say things that aren't really you, sometimes you feel bad, so you go to a substance to help you feel better. And you look around the world, you see a lot of that. And then all of a sudden, you know what happens? That becomes not enough. So you push it a drop. You push it a drop, right? I didn't make the numbers this month. I gotta just cover from the escrow funds, and I'll make it back next month, right? I just gotta take this pill, and I'll lose this weight. I'll just gotta say this thing. I gotta lower myself to do this thing to get that thing, because that's who I am. That's how people know me. And you push, and you push, and you push, and you wake up one day and you don't know where you find yourself because you're lost. It's happening today. Look what's going on with this whole Me Too movement. You're seeing really powerful people that I don't think they're bad people. Some of them may be, but they started off just having a little too much power, and they got a little bit too much temptations, and they think it's them. I built this studio. I was responsible for this money. It's me. And now I have a desire, and I push myself a little bit over the line of what's really right. And I look to the right, and nobody's saying boo. And I push myself. I wake up one morning and I'm lost. So everyone's at risk always, for anything. Even if there's no camera on you, even if you don't make more money than the guy next to you, always, for anything you do, whenever you achieve success, you are at risk of the balance between being proud of your success, being happy and grateful for your success, or being self-absorbed because of your success. And that line is like this. And the minute you cross that line and stay there for a little while, you lose yourself. Whether people know it or not, you lose yourself.
So what do you do not to pass, and if you do pass, to get back?
So there's family that's very good at keeping you humble. Right? I remember one time I went to a mentor of mine who was like the head of this major organization, very successful in business. People like waited online to like just see him. I'll never forget, I came to his house for Shabbat, and it was like 10 minutes before Shabbat, and I see him going out the backyard with 2 garbage bags because his wife's like, take out the garbage, it's almost Shabbos. And I'm thinking, awesome. The same guy who you go to this massive company, people are like quaking in front of his boots. He's such a garbage man, just like every other man in this world. They're just garbage men. Family keeps you humble. You know why? Because if you have, if you keep your family right, hopefully they just realize that you're just a regular guy. Prayer keeps you humble, because that's what prayer is for. You ask for the most basic things. Pain keeps you humble, right? Pain isn't an annoyance. It's a humbling factor when you realize that I'm not in charge of this world, and even my body, look how great I am. Oh, I ate one little thing that was wrong, and now I'm debilitated for a day? Oh my gosh, I'm not that, how great can I possibly be? The world, seeing sunrise, and being like, I was on the plane yesterday, and I'm like, I am so small. Like, look at this world, it's so big, and I can't even see it. I get like a glimpse, and it's perspective. Mentors, teachers, rabbis, studying Torah, all these things are meant to just not keep you less, right? I don't mean to keep you less. I don't mean to say the guy who feels humble should do less. He should do more. He should think that he is a little bit less. See, there's a distinction that I hope I'm getting across. Take on the world. Change everything. Just don't pat yourself on the back and say, I'm the greatest thing since sliced white bread.
So I hope you guys come to the next video, Financial Abundance. We'll talk about how to make a lot of money, and I hope you enjoyed this little snippet for my daughter. I add it with very tremendous humbleness. Thank you for watching.
Abba, the best dad in the world. Before I introduce you to my dad, I'd like to say a couple of words. My dad's delightful, amazing, easy to convince, and caring person. He even runs his own family of 6. A little word from his youngest daughter, Yaron Hassid. My dad's a very cooperative person. You can ask anybody. He is extremely good at negotiating and even runs his own business. Finally, he is nice, loving, and caring. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce to you to Yaron Hassid of Platinum Properties.